Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the quarterly safety meeting. Jackie, go ahead, this is your.
Okay, I will ask for a approval on the December 15th meeting minutes.
I make a motion, we approve the December 15th, 2021 meeting minutes.
Okay, 1 second.
I'll second.
Okay. Brody, do you have a report?
Certainly. So, thank you. I just thought we'd take a quick review of the workers' compensation loss runs.
Would you introduce yourself?
Yes, certainly. Rody Holman with Payne West Insurance. I work with Granite County on the property and casualty program as well as on the workers' compensation program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I brought, I guess we'll share a couple of copies. Oh,
Here, here.
I'll give that, Charles.
okay. That works like that? I don't. So I have before you the workers' compensation loss runs with respect to the Montana State Fund. Recall 2 years ago, this will be the second year that we're in the program with the Montana State Fund. MACO discontinued its program a couple of years ago on the workers' compensation side, and they brought an agent in from eastern part of the state to try and partner with other counties, and Granite County at that point decided that they wanted to continue to work with Payne West locally here in the Butte office. So we placed the business with the Montana State Fund. What you have before you is the loss runs from 7/1 of 2020 to 7/1 2022. And not bad from an operations standpoint. What I like to see, you've got a couple of material handling, a couple slip trip falls, but the nice thing about what we're seeing on the loss runs is that on the indemnity side of the column, there is all zeros on that. So that's really important for you. You know, operations such as Granite County, they've got such a diverse operational characteristic. You know, you've got road crews, you've got heavy equipment, you've got law enforcement, you've got you've got landfill, all those types of things, which can have the tendency to create some hazards. So it's one of those things where you will see from time to time some claims activity. But again, the important thing here is right down the line, since we've started with the Montana State Fund, it's been medical only claims, and that really helps the county from their experience mod perspective. So when you're with a carrier such as the Montana State Fund or any workers' comp carrier for that matter, with the exception of a privatized company like MACO was, your experience mod is calculated by the National Commission on Compensation Insurance, which is a firm out of Florida, and they calculate everybody's NCCI experience mod rating. And your experience mod rating, I use the analogy, it's like an interest rate on a home equity line of credit. The higher the experience mod, the more workers' comp premium you're going to pay. The lower the experience mod, the less workers' comp premium you're going to pay. And NCCI, what they'll do on medical only claims is they'll reduce those by 70% when they calculate your experience mod. Now, the second that claim turns to a wage loss claim, then 100% of that claim cost goes towards your experience mod. So, you know, we talk a lot about early return to work and why it's important. That's why it's important to get those people back to work. Number one, it's a morale issue. They get a better wage because in Montana, it's 66 2/3% of their wage. But also you're getting them back to work, into the workforce, the morale is up, those types of things. So again, kudos to Granite County as it relates to that experience, or as it relates to the indemnity claim, because we don't have any right now, and that's great.
When they got them closed and undecided, does that mean that they're still open if something happens? If something come up like a long-term, like, cause I see one of them's closed and accepted, then the next one would be like closed and undecided here. I was just curious, does that mean that, in like this one, that one's done and then this one's still open?
That's correct. So they're under Montana law, if an injured employee comes back to the employer and says, I've got additional medical, then they have to open it back up. There's a 60-month period.
60
I
months.
think it's a 60-month period that they can open it back up, and actually they can actually petition beyond that to keep it opened, depending on the severity of the injury.
Okay.
Yep. But a lot of times, like you'll see closed and undecided, or closed with there's no dollars tied to it. Those would be issues where the county files a first report of injury. We have an incident that we don't know whether the individual employee is going to need medical attention or not. And so we always encourage, file that first report, because you don't want to be late on that. But once that report's filed, you could see the claim showing up on the loss run with the zeros attached to it in terms of payment. And so we always encourage, go ahead and if there are incidents that could give rise to a claim down the road, go ahead and report those. I've got a standing kind of rule with my underwriters that I want my insureds to report more from an incident standpoint, because we can always discuss those zero payments, right?
Okay.
I'd rather have Granite County over-report with zeros tied to those claims than not report and get in trouble for a late report situation.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. But again, hats off to you guys.
I think that's where it pays, where they're doing online training, like follow with the road crew and you guys up here and all, keeping everybody on top.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, the indemnity, whether it's on purpose or by accident, I'm happy, right? That there are zeros tied to those, because it really does have an impact on your experience mod. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I have two questions. I don't know if you're the right person to ask or if this is the right time, but when we do those safety trainings that like Sue assigns out that we do the gift cards for, like those module trainings on the computer, does that affect our rates by how many people that we have complete those in the building?
So that's a great question, and thanks for asking it. So I had explained how your experience mod can affect your workers' compensation premium. What you've got is you've got all these different classes of employees. You've got law enforcement, you've got equipment, you've got clerical, all that comprise Granite County's operation. And then you have a manual rate per $100 in payroll. So let's just say you've got, I'm just going to use just $100,000 in clerical employees, and your manual rate might be 25 cents per 100 in payroll. So that gets you your manual rate for that class of employee countywide. And then you add or subtract your mod factor. So if your experience mod is greater than 1, then you're paying more than another similarly situated county. If it's less than 1, you're paying less. So that's that calculation. Then the next calculation is what's called schedule credit, and that's underwriting discretion. So the underwriter has some discretion on how they price the account below the experience mod. So when Granite County's participating, like this meeting here, they're actively participating. Types of things all go toward that underwriting discretion and can drive the premium down as well.
Okay.
So it's that you're doing those types of things. Number one, it's creating a safety culture within the county. And number two, higher awareness. And number two, hopefully those people are taking that with them out into the field. So you're having less accidents. So it's really, it's a win-win. And then you're also getting the potential benefit of the schedule rating that the underwriter has discretion over.
Okay, and then this might kind of play into it, but Jackie, partnering with public health and our public health nurse, has been able to set up CPR training classes and we've had like a pretty good return. So if we have a certain amount of employees who are all CPR first aid certified, will that affect our rates as well?
That's not really related to work comp necessarily.
Okay.
In that particular, safety training is training, and first aid is a part of the overall training, but the first aid in and of itself isn't going to drive your rates downward. It's going to help that when you look at the global safety training that the county does,
Okay.
the things that Paul's doing, Jackie's doing, and that Brody helps with, and the Montana State Fund helps with. Those things all collectively, hopefully, will
For the culture.
help the county.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So I hope I didn't take up too much time, Jackie.
You're fine.
Brody.
I don't really have a lot to say, just, I don't know if you guys have got hit yet, but the Department of Labor is out again, doing their inspections. I know, Townsend got hit, Broadwater County got hit a couple weeks ago, so they're in the area, so I know you've been through it a million times, so we know how to handle it pretty good, but is there anything you guys need from us?
No. I'm gonna continue to send out those unknown callers. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Your safety topics every month, that makes a huge difference on an audit. They're being spent or dispersed out to
Awesome.
departments.
Awesome. If there's any trainings, anything you need, just let us know.
The Department of Labor seems to make their rounds. It's school districts, it's public entities, it's county governments, city governments. They have a tendency to kind of make sure that, and I think that the work that you're doing, number one, preempts problems from them, which is a good thing. But by all means, if they ever come across something that we haven't found or that you haven't found that you need help with, please let us know, because generally speaking, we can help get that rectified fairly quickly. Sometimes I'll find some stuff that we haven't seen.
For me and Jack, been through that at this point, so.
Yeah, you've been through the ringer with them, so
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Karen, do you have any updates?
Everything's great.
How about Janine? I have nothing to report. All good. Valerie?
Yeah, let me unmute her.
Val, do you have a report?
Oh, we can't hear you, Valerie. She's unmuted, but we can't hear you.
I never touched nothing.
Turn it up.
Hey Valerie, can you hear us? Can't hear you.
We still can't hear you. Okay, let's try to unmute you again. Now try. to unmute you.
Still nothing.
We still can't hear you.
She said she had nothing to report. She just wanted to be a
It's
part
on
of
the
it.
clock.
Okay.
Oh, she got one finger up.
We can't hear you.
Hurry up, said the big one.
Right. Is it good or bad?
Paul, do you have anything?
No, I did find some first aid kits.
Okay.
I don't know, enough for one for all the trucks anyway.
And some for the solid waste too.
Yeah,
Okay.
But- I'll have more by the end of the week probably.
Do they have those kits like they have in the back room with the recorders at the solid waste?
You mean, them big ones on the
Yeah.
wall?
I don't think they need one of those.
They used to have one before and it got just, it never got took care of, got moisture in it.
Okay.
And we wasted a bunch of money and just,
As long as we have something there. The OSHA 300 yearly report is completed. It's hanging up on the wall on the bulletin board. New batteries have been replaced in the AED machine and new batteries are in the box. So the iPOS renewal, that's our safety module for the sheriff's office, is due to be renewed in June of 22, so I'll start that paperwork. Also, I received a grant opportunity to update our hazardous materials. There's a grant coming through Montana DES, and I didn't know if we were gonna talk about it tomorrow at our LAPC meeting, but you guys think I should go forward on it and just figure out, it'll cover like tabletop exercises. It's one of our gaps that we had in our THYRA report of not having a full exercise or a tabletop with the hazardous materials. It hasn't been updated since 2015. And also yesterday, I got from Montana Rail Link the top 10 hazardous that comes through the Granite County on the railroad too. So,
I'd go for it. Cause
Okay.
if you're gonna, cause I'm sure there's gonna be more and more tabletops and stuff and might have something to help with that.
and I'm gonna talk to Audrey from DES. She'll be at the meeting tomorrow and kind of see if like there's somebody who can do that or what's the cost and
Maybe you can figure out what what all contains in it and not, make sure we're not getting set up or something.
right. I have all the, if you guys want to read through it.
That's my opinion, I don't know if they.
But it does have a 20% cost share from the county, but we can spend, prep times and things like that for match.
Cause they're gonna start asking you to do more.
Mhm.
That's coming.
So anyhow, I think that's about all I have. Anybody have any questions?
I don't, good job, everybody, all the, good job.
I have one quick question. With respect to the Mako renewal, I know that we've worked with some of the staff on the updated schedules, vehicle schedules, equipment schedules, et cetera. And who is that I've worked with? Is it
Me.
Is it you?
Really,
Okay, I don't know if it was you or the clerk.
You worked with Sarah on getting the actual, you guys came up with a list last year. You worked with Sarah on
Okay.
making sure the lists were updated. And then I got the list this year and I went
Okay.
through and compared
And
with
Lynn-
that
Lynn
list
had sent
from
that to-
last year, yeah. And we made sure everything looked
Okay,
in good from that list.
Okay,
You guys
so-
filed and added the one that we got and everything was good.
okay, perfect. I'm gonna leave you with that, review that letter, and then
Fantastic,
if you could get that completed and sent to me at your leisure, that'd be great.
fantastic.
So the letter I just handed her was just that the schedules have been reviewed by the commission and signed off on, so.
before we adjourn, one more, I'd recommend that each or more people would take this CPR. I know we can't tell them to, but if we got them setting this up and gonna do it, we need to, I just assume everybody that can, road crew, everybody. Have we heard back from any there?
So have you heard anything back from the sheriff's office? I think he might have had a couple of reserve deputies that needed it, but everyone else in the sheriff's office was, and dispatchers were up. to
I
snuff.
haven't heard anything from him.
Um,
I'll get in touch with
do you
him.
guys have anybody?
There's a
from
couple
around?
guys gonna do it.
Okay,
If
just
they
let
can
me
let
know
them,
and I'll
if they can let them know,
get 'em
Paul, so
something
that
out.
way you're putting it on, we kind of have an idea what we need now. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just recommend that as many that can do it, because it's a, the way they're out on the roads and that is.
How many do we have so far?
There's a sign up sheet on my door, or people can email me too. There was a pretty big amount from the courthouse. I'll send you the list out too. But I just posted it on my door.
Cause she's gonna kinda need to know,
Yeah,
before
we're gonna need to know,
Yeah.
because we're only gonna have 4 dummies, so we'll just
I
have to.
think the afternoon class is
More
pretty
than that.
full,
Yeah.
but the morning.
Road crew.
Well, and it's kind of nice to know if somebody has had the class already or they have not. So we're trying to split, like, people who've never had the class, like in the afternoon.
Because I've had it every year, but I'm taking it. Paul's taking it.
Yeah, but we're trying to split it so those who haven't taken it, you know, we can spend more time with them instead of, you know,
And
throwing
then
it
you
amongst.
people who haven't taken it, you have in the morning right now, and then the people that have are in the afternoon. I think your afternoon classes.
I guess we just need an update from each, you know, like the road crew, solid waste, whatever, and just find out, even if it's a part-timers or, you know, if they want to take it, they should take it. I don't think. That's my. Jackie,
Yeah, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll be back in touch soon.
All right, good job.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask you on this one. Can we go on mute? All right, we'll go ahead and do the start of the meeting, do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everybody. We'll go ahead and start with the board minutes for March 8th, 2022 decision.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Any public comment on this?
Elena.
Go ahead, Elena. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Elena Gagliano for the record. On the minutes, question. Why isn't the draft of the minutes uploaded for the agenda? And then I have a comment. All right, well, actually, I have another question since I'm not hearing anything. Why don't you put it up on the agenda so we can see it? And if they're,
Chuck was answering your question.
They're not accepted, so we might change them.
well, that's fine. It's a draft and it's noted as a draft.
Before.
Yeah.
So Elena, from what I understand, the policy has been this way for years, that the minutes do not go out to the public until they've been approved by the commission. So this is the reason why you don't see them until after they've been approved. And you also spoke about that last week. And we told you that if you felt that you saw any prior week's minutes that were wrong, you would let us know. So this is repeating what you requested last week.
No, I'm sorry, I beg to differ. And regarding, it's always been like that, the policy, when Mike Cahill, excuse me, when Mike, and when Mike Cahill was, when Mike Cahill, I'm answering Blanche.
No, I'm answering you. We've done this. and
When
we
Mike Cahill was the administrator, the draft was available. Now, you tell me what Montana.
She won't listen. Thank you for your explanation, Blanche and Chuck. We've gone through this every week. You won't listen to our comments back to you. You're interrupting us. We're moving on. Thank you. Now we're on to correspondence. The first one's from the United States Department of Agriculture. It's on the descriptions and backgrounds. They're talking about doing some stuff. This is mainly over in east of Granite County. next one's on, the first Flint Creek Hydroelectric Project. It's on the request to register primary and secondary contacts. It's another one of these, they want us to do it right away and then they give it to us the last minute. You know, it seems like it's just,
Oh, that was to make you a FERC account. I did that for you last week. Did you get my email? Did you, I set up your FERC account.
thank you.
That's
very
all
much.
that was asking.
Thank you very much. This is a letter from Suzanne Browning. It's the same letter as last week we had, right?
It's a follow-up
Follow-up,
to
okay.
last week's. She asked for it to go in.
Okay, I'll bring it up at public comment. And that's it on correspondence. Any public comment on the correspondence? Being none, we'll move on to the next one. Yeah. Public comment? Any public comment?
Elena.
Go ahead, Elena.
Elena Gagliano for the record on public comment. I'm going to not ask a question, well, maybe. I'm going to make a statement. When Mike Cahill was the administrator and I asked for the draft of the minutes, he gave it to me. He gave it to anybody who requested the draft of the minutes. When a certain commissioner took office, it ceased. Now, I'd like to know, and I don't expect an answer from you now, if you don't have anything to hide, why isn't it there? So we can see and help you correct mistakes. Now, this is supposed to be open government and public transparency of what our government does. So Montana Code annotated are the statutes for which the commissioners have to follow with their public meetings. So I'd like to know which code gives you the option not to provide a draft to the public when the public requests it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Gail Leeper, go ahead. Morning, Gail, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Good morning.
thanks. Sorry. I was challenged this morning. Hey, so my public comment is, we have, in the past have had meetings with the commissioner, had joint session, and it would have been in March, this time. I'd really like to get back to doing that. So I'm just wondering, and I understand you don't need to answer me now, but if you will, if I should put that on the agenda and we could look for the next one, which would be in June. It wouldn't be until June. So if you would take that under consideration, I would appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, go ahead, Elena.
I'm sorry, thanks for taking my comment again. In regards to my last comment, I would like an answer from the commission regarding my questions. Thank you.
You'll
Maybe you
get
can
one.
discuss it by putting it on the agenda. That would be good. Thanks.
So I move we put on the agenda to get clarification that whether or not drafted minutes should go to the public before they're approved. I think we need a county attorney's opinion on that, and we'll go from what the county attorney advises. And as far as you making a statement that a certain commissioner, once they took office, the drafted minutes were gone. I guess you're assuming that is me. So I'm sorry, I didn't have anything to do with drafted minutes not being sent out like Mike Cahill used to do. But I remember years ago that we fought and fought and fought this. And I know there's statutes in there that say that we can put the minutes out when they're approved. So we'll just get confirmation on that, okay, Elena?
Thank you.
She has another comment.
Go ahead, Elena.
No, I'm sorry to bother you. I don't have another comment. I'm addressing what Blanche said.
This is.
Blanche, Blanche, Blanche.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. I was being interrupted a few times. Sorry.
Oh,
But thank you, Blanche. The commissioner I was talking about was not you. The change occurred a few years before you came into the picture. So I just want to clarify that for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I've never changed nothing on it. I don't know where she comes up with all this stuff.
Mhm.
Here comes Blaine. What's that?
She asked us in the dance art meeting upstairs if you answered this question.
Oh, and what's his name? Yeah. No, we've gone over this and over it.
How's it going?
It's been a while.
Uh-oh, what's going on?
So we're
at
doing public comment.
Oh, okay.
Elena had a public comment saying that she has a right to see the drafted minutes. And so we said that the drafted minutes, until they're approved, we don't have to put them out to the public. And so with you not being here, we suggested that we'd speak with you. And I think we've gone through this before. What's your
So
opinion on
my
that?
opinion, the draft minutes are not public minutes. Just to let you know, though, there is a division among county attorneys on that issue. But the problem with the issue the commission's had with it is if there's errors and stuff in there, and then those errors go out, and then it's confusion. So what can happen though is you guys approve them. If they still think there's an error in it, they can come back, like you said, they can come back and you can put it on the agenda and correct it then. So there's a remedy for.
We've gone over this and over.
And if I may make
Yes.
one more comment.
Go ahead, Blaine.
Last week, Elena brought this up. This was a question from her saying that because she didn't get to see the drafted minutes, what happens to when she finds an error on the minutes that are approved? And we told her right then and there to bring them to us,
You can get it on the agenda.
and we'll get it
again
on the
and-
agenda to correct it.
That's
And then
the-
we can look at it.
Yeah, so there's still public comment at that. Yeah, there's no public comments never cut off. But just know there's some county attorneys that have different, but I think the majority of them say that they're not public. And I've seen some old case law. It's just that what I think needs to happen is the legislature needs to, they need to say yes or no on there. And the legislature, they might say, yeah, they think it's public, but they need to put that clearly in the statute, I think. Both of them will get reelected.
So
Any
how
other
are we,
public
may I
comments
have
from-
one more? How are we addressing the letter from,
Oh, yeah, she
We
wanted
have it
that
right
too.
here. We
Okay.
got a letter to you.
was that your response?
Did you want to
That's
go
what
through?
our,
Huh?
that's our response. to
Oh, I
it.
didn't see
And then
that.
I've been on with Billy and Paul getting stuff, years and stuff. It's in your packet.
And her new,
You can look them up.
It's just a rough, rough
yeah.
draft.
it's
of
Okay,
it.
a
never mind, I
draft,
got
the
it.
working draft.
So we're gonna have to answer this one too.
Yeah, that new one she wanted addressed during public comment, though, Scott. That
Yes,
one.
And she's not yet seen this, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Just a working,
Correct.
just a
Yeah,
rough
it's just
draft.
a working draft, so I didn't
Okay.
upload that.
Well, I
one to
think
the
this is
website.
gonna answer a bunch of her questions, and I guess we'll, everybody can read it over, and then we can approve it, and then we will send it to her. That way she's being addressed.
Yeah,
Does that sound all right to everybody?
that's on the agenda, right?
It is on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah.
I didn't upload the draft to the website because I felt like it was still a working draft.
Yeah, it comes on at Paul's time, because Paul's gotta answer a couple of questions, so as soon as we go to Road and Bridge, we can address that, Blanche, and then we can,
Okay.
we got that other, okay, sorry. Any other public comment?
Elena.
Being, oh, sorry, Elena, go ahead, I was reading the letter. I missed it, sorry.
Thank you, Elena Gagliano, for the record and point of clarification. Earlier, you said you would put it on the agenda for a discussion. My points, my questions that I brought up, and I'd still like to see it on the agenda. And I also like to see the Montana codes annotated that, again, give the commissioners an option whether or not to provide the draft. So I hope to see it on next week's agenda. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody have public comment before we move on? Still got 1 minute.
Just thinking about adjusting.
Have you read this stuff, Paul, yet, before we get to you?
From
Us?
I sent you the new one.
Suzie.
And then what we wrote, it's just a draft.
I didn't send you that
No,
yesterday.
I don't know, you're on.
It was the end of the day yesterday.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to, it's 9:15, Road and Bridge Weekly Report. Superintendent Paul's here, and it's a response to Suzanne Browning's public comment, DIA drafted letter discussion decision today. We'll go right into that. We have another updated, my lord. A letter from Suzanne. We're all looking at it right now. Is there any comments on this from the commissioners?
Oh, the new one? Still reading it.
One thing like here where it said that dumps maintained to the point, I wanna make sure, clarify on that, that if we're gonna fix them, we gotta make sure that they're safety, you know? I didn't mean just slap them together so they work. Gotta make sure they meet the specs.
Right.
That's-
I mean,
You know, it's
our
gonna,
mechanics don't slap things together, I hope.
well, I didn't mean, I meant all this, do it.
Okay, what she,
If they can fix them to the point where they can. I didn't mean it just.
So I'm gonna just make one general comment. What Susie is saying to me is that the road fund is definitely in trouble. We know that it has been. We used over half of the budget with PILT. She's asking about the equipment. I think we've clarified where the equipment came from. She's made a comment on the new dump truck that we purchased and that didn't get in use until what, February or November? Okay, so this is things that she's reacted, and these are things that happen.
Well, like on the dump truck, we got it back as soon as we could get it back. And as far as could we have made it a season without it? Well, we basically did. But how do we know that what the weather's gonna do? I mean, we can't predict a mild winter like this.
And next year.
And then, yeah, we don't know what next season is. We did get by with that old Ford that we, and that we're keeping, for an emergency backup truck, but it's certainly not one that you can just run all the time. We just lucked out because we had a mild winter.
Okay,
But I get what she's saying.
Okay, so another comment is she is worried about looking for belly dumps in this fiscal period, which that was stated last week that no, you were out there just looking for belly dumps. The one thing that we do know is we're going to have a problem again this budget year. We're going to look at the budget. If we can't afford the belly dumps, then we can't afford the belly dumps. I mean, this is
That's just that simple.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
we've
we
already
fix
said
them.
that. This
And
is-
I think, and that's, we already know that we used 500,000 to balance the road budget and 80,000 to balance the gas tax fund. The gas tax fund, they used millings. They spent for millings out of it. I'm thinking, this is my opinion, that the millings cost us more than what the free millings actually we received. We paid out a lot of money. So that's something that we need to look at in the future too. I rest my
Mostly
case.
agree.
I mean, I'm just making comments on what she's making comments on. And we are in trouble and we're looking at pretty inflationary COLA coming up that what we're going to do about. So,
Well, our whole deal with the belly dumps is, it was strictly look, see what's available. There was nobody writing a check, and we know if there's no money to buy them, there's no money to buy them. It's just that simple.
right.
But at least now we know what's out there, and that was our goal.
Did we address it all?
Huh?
Did we address it all?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and then this other letter that we're sending her, I know she's at work and that, but she kind of asked me some questions at the gas station and that, and sometimes when you want stuff addressed, you gotta take the time out to be on there to answer. I mean, here we're going back and forth, and she says, what about this and what about that? Well, if you're not on there to hear from, she wanted to hear from the superintendent. Well, here he is, but yet she's not on there. I know she's working. There's certain time, you know what I'm saying?
The one thing
Yeah, I agree. They're talking at the gas station is not the right.
she's questioning our inventory. And you gave her the inventory list. I do agree to the point that maybe on a Friday, things are going, for tens, that I would be willing to come out and check off and bring Billy with me and you and go through just to make sure that we've looked at it. If you guys want, I mean, I'm willing to do that. I need to learn more about the road anyway. I mean, I really do.
I
I've got
wanted
it.
to know that I do go out and look at equipment, what's been going and that. Like this morning, I drove up and looked at the stuff and yes, I go look at what we have. I know what we have. I mean, I don't know the years, but yes, I know the equipment and what they're doing.
And we just did a new equipment update list last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's current.
I think we've answered their stuff. We can move on. is that good with everybody? And then what does everybody think on this
One-
letter?
One more
I
thing,
haven't read that one.
It's in your
It should be
packet.
in your package
Oh,
too.
one more thing that she did want to know about was what we were doing with the truck that we didn't fix, that we junked. We're just taking off whatever we want off of it that we can possibly use. And then whenever we have another one of them sales, it'll be in that sale. Right now, it's sitting at the Beaver shop.
But there could
And
be a
it's
sale
hard,
whenever
isn't
you
it?
want one.
Go ahead,
I was
Brian.
gonna say there could be a sale anytime you, yeah,
Right.
just let the commission know and, yeah, we can get it out of that.
And as hard as it is to get parts, you know, person get stuff off it, we might as well just hold on to it for a while. And now we kind of,
Well, we're taking off what we can use, but there's not a lot,
you know,
you know.
so, is there a motion on sending Susie this letter?
I need some of the highlighted information, you know, for some of it I did answer.
Some of them that she's highlighted, Billy's highlighted, some of that are
I'll
over
get that to you.
50 years. Paul will work with you on that and them 3 ones, and then he can answer them, and then if I get a motion, we can send this letter to her.
Okay.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
he's reading. I just seen if you agreed on it.
So, okay, this third paragraph from Susie was MCA 2-3-103 and 2-3-102, public comment, that it's not an agenda item, but it should be on next week's agenda item. Explain that a little bit to me.
Well, if you're gonna, you can hear something in the public comment, but if you're gonna, yeah, take action on it, it should be agenda item. So that's why, yeah, I had your letter, you
So
know,
is-
encourage you to have your letter on the
is-
agenda to
is that-
respond.
Are we addressing this from last week? This letter to
Yeah.
Susie
Yeah.
from her comment?
Yeah,
And so it was on the agenda to address it from
Yes,
last week?
it's on
Okay,
that right here.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're following the rules?
Yes.
I believe so. Was it said
Well,
you weren't?
Yeah, it says right here on the public, or we took her public comment and I held on to it until we brought it into the road and bridge, and it says on the response to Suzanne Browning's public comments, VIA drafted letter. This is our drafted letter, but she had a new update, so we went from it to here, which we're doing it right.
One thing, I mean, one thing that Drummond School does is they take public comment and they don't even respond at all. I mean, they won't, their attorneys told them not to even say anything. I think that's rude myself. I mean, you just should say, yeah, I mean, thanks for your comment and, we'll do X, Y, and Z, or, we'll get it on the agenda. So I think you can respond to people in their public comment, but just don't make any decisions. And if you want it on to potentially make a decision, then put it on the agenda.
Well, that's like where you explain, you know, that on the, to Elaine there. So, I mean, it wasn't that we made a decision, we just explained what we're doing. Yeah, we never made no motions in that, so, but this now, we're asking to make a motion just so she can, cause she wants a response. She said she wants a response, so.
Well, I'll move to send the letter.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? Gail, go ahead.
Hi, Commissioners, thank you. One thing I just would like is Blanche just said she was willing to go out and do that, and I kind of feel like you just brushed her off, Scott. I know that you do it, but she wanted to gain knowledge from it too. So, I mean, I just would ask that you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I was just letting her, you know, just saying that I do go out, Chuck goes out, but no, Blanche can go out, I ain't saying she can't.
Well,
I'm glad you are. There's a lot out there, you and Paul. can-
So I mean, would it be okay for like Billy and I, and then to work with
Yeah.
you we have the list, we can try to find the stuff on the list.
Not a problem.
I
Okay.
think what
Anytime.
Commissioner Adler did was, you shook your head instead of said yes, I think, maybe that's
Oh,
something she
sorry.
picked up on.
I guess Gail, thank you. You stole my thunder and I agree with her. I was going to say, I think it's a great idea that Blanche goes out and gets to know what's out there and keeps a list. And maybe she should do the same thing when there's a question regarding a road that comes up. That's just another suggestion. Maybe any of you should go out, all of you, to check what the problem of a road is. Thank you.
Of a road.
A road. You wanted us to go where people call Paul, you want us to go out and check the road before he does?
Let me get out of the
Every
That's
road.
why we have.
All right,
Paul.
you got me back. Okay, clarification of what I said is if there is a problem regarding a particular road and there's confusion or controversy, yes, I think the commissioner should go out and check what the situation is.
The superintendent brings stuff back to us when there's a conflict or if there's problems, and then he talks to the county attorney and the three commissioners. I think as far as,
Well, we do that. You know, I mean, I went out and looked at roads when there was confusion or conflict. You know, I mean, I've done that.
yes, I mean, and Blanche was just saying she was wanting to go look at stuff and she can. That's all I'm saying. So we're gonna move on to 9:31. Thank you for all your comments. Brandon Parrott Dam Tenders Report, Georgetown Lake outflow review and decision. I don't have Brandon's,
You guys never voted on the letter.
huh?
You never voted on the letter.
Oh. Oops, good thing. All in favor of the letter to Suzanne Browning?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried and passed, put on ballot.
Did you make your report?
Yeah.
I missed it. No, just.
Okay, the lake is at 6428.26, 14.88. Oh,
There was no dam tender report this week. I didn't receive a dam tender report.
is he on there?
He's not.
We'll make sure and reach out to our dam tender and see. As long as we're talking about this, I was with Jackie and Dow guy and we did some talking and he was really excited about our dam tender and so it was all pretty good. I can tell you what went on there. It was kind of an audit and I just stopped in and we did it. Jackie and I were down. So it went good. There's a few things we need to clarify, a couple things that they were wondering who's doing what, and we gotta bring that up. What's that?
He was done.
Oh, that we'll bring up and we'll ask Jackie here about it, okay? But other than that, I thought it went good, didn't you, Jackie?
Yeah, I talked to that guy too.
Yeah, he did say that, sorry. So, what's your comments or what on the lake?
Well, I'll move to stay the same.
Is that the dam tender?
Commissioner's office.
Hello, this is Brandon. I'm just calling in, doing my checks this morning.
Cool. So, the lake's, 64, 28, 26, we're 14.
Yep, that's what I got.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Do you have any other comments on this? And you talked to the guy from Dow?
I did. I talked to Russell, and Russell said, the main thing up there is inspection was one was for me to get more training, And second was to if there's any cosmetic or anything that may need to be fixed or done, is that the owners of the dam they're able to do that without seeking out approval from higher, I guess, if you will. So,
Okay. Yeah, he had good comments on what we're doing and everything. I did think it went really good.
it was good. And other than that, I'll probably get with Jeremy from Great Northwest and talk to him later this spring and meet up with him and go over a few more things with the
Okay.
dam. So
I guess and keep us posted if you see something coming up that it's a training or an exercise or something that you want to do, just let us know. But if you can get more experience, we're all for it. I'm kind of speaking up for everybody, so.
well, I agree. Yeah, and he said Russell was saying just get a hold of Jeremy. He is your point of contact for stuff like that. And I was like, sounds good. I will do that.
You
So,
mean
Jeremiah, excuse me, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Sorry.
righty. Well, thank you. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Have a good
Good
day.
job.
Jackie had a comment.
I just wanted to remind him, and I think he's probably on, about May 14th for that whole
Oh, for the
exercise.
fall
He's
exercise.
gone.
I'll send him a text message.
So do we have second on the motion?
I think you did.
I thought I did.
No, we haven't
No?
a second on the motion.
What was the motion?
Way back.
Say the same.
Stayed the same. Yes, I agree. A second.
Public comment. Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Damn stays as it is.
So it looks like there's lots of moisture gonna happen this week.
Go for it.
Seems like we get a little and then the darn wind hits so bad, it kind of just sucking it right out. You know, you look at the creeks and the river.
Yeah.
Some of the other drainages are 75 to 80% up here, and that's just hearsay, but you know, we're at 85. Last year was at what, 110 or something? 100, I'd have to look it up.
Oh, my place, then the moisture is going right into the ground. Not running.
It's not
It's good
much.
though, right?
Well, that's a good point.
It's not running off.
It's like a sponge.
Yeah, sponge.
Are we gonna stay on until Forest Service gets here?
What's that?
Are we staying on until the Forest Service gets here?
Unless there's something. Wanna go off?
We have a question, it doesn't matter if we stay on or not.
Oh, you can, go ahead.
There's a grant opportunity that Jackie and I would like to work together to explore and possibly put on your agenda next week for approval, to possibly look at getting a transportation van for elderly.
I agree. I mean, it's a grant to get money for there's a, what was it, 25?
The lowest is 11,500, but it's through the AARP. It's a grant that Deb sent us the information last week, and so I started looking at it yesterday, so.
Yeah, and it's due on the 22nd.
Money for like
so-
that, for the
Oh.
every and that, you know, we're getting more people and maybe we can find a rig that they can still use their own rigs, like when they're transport, you know, we can't.
What?
Get like a rig to haul people.
Like a van to
Yeah.
take elderly people to appointments, maybe.
It's all in
It's
that
a huge
category, yeah.
Yeah.
Could
So
we,
be on the agenda next week,
Yeah.
then?
yeah, we'll put it on.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at US Forest Service 2022 road maintenance plan.
They're not quite here yet either. Sarah Rouse is gonna come in.
Okay, so we'll go off until she comes in.
Shaking my hand hard.
All right, we're back on now.
He does.
We need a couple
Couple of chairs here.
Yeah.
Grab one chair like this.
I'll just scooch over here. Is that okay? Yeah. No, you're good. I was gonna hand things out. How are you guys all?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Paul?
Oh,
What happened to your downstairs meeting? That's how long it's been since I seen a commissioner. Didn't you just meet downstairs?
Nope, that's Justice Court, maybe you're.
You're a step up, buddy. You need another, you can grab one of the chairs and bring it up.
We got one more
Okay,
chair.
right there.
Sarah's going in the corner.
I go in the corner. You two can share that. Hey, thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
Are we ready to kick it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we came here to talk to you guys today about our yearly maintenance plan, which is tied with our 5-year cooperative road agreement with the county and the Forest Service. And we have Sarah's got the maintenance plan drafted. We'll go over that, and then we'll just give you an update on that 1589 road that we're gonna work in partnership to get reconstructed. We have a few updates on that, not a lot of change, but a couple updates. So that's the only 2 things we need to talk about today. And then any questions you guys have. So this first document is the maintenance plan for 2022. I believe it was last year you guys re-signed the 5-year agreement, so it's good for another 4 years here. And this yearly maintenance plan is just tiered off of that schedule. So the important thing here is part A would be the county roads that the Forest Service are working on. And we're not planning to do any work on your guys' roads this year. Part B would be the road that Forest Service roads that you guys would be working on. So the first one is that 1589 road. We have to document that work in this. It's just planned work that's going to be done. Again, that whole project is funded out of RAC, so you guys won't have to pay any money to work on this road, but you'll be helping us with the contracting and accomplishing the road. So that's the first road. And then the second one is just your normal plowing that you do up at the lake. 406 road and 8686 road, and then those wreck sites.
You're gonna have a timber sale in there or something?
Someday, yep.
Someday.
Yeah, someday sooner than later, trust me. Yeah, that was part of the old Maxwell timber sale from 2000, and I think the decision was signed in 2006 or 7, and then it got litigated and was just dropped. So I've taken that old project and I've doubled the size of it. We're going all the way up past Princeton out to 1500 road, looking at some units up there. And reworking this road is critical to the future sale. But it's probably a couple of years out potentially. So I'm starting environmental analysis on it. So the 2 maps attached, Exhibit A would be the 1589 road. You can see there's 2 little minor reroutes on it, highlighted in yellow. They're kind of hard to see, but. And then Exhibit B would be the 2 roads up to Georgetown that you guys plow, and then all the wreck areas with the purple stars.
You're just moving it a little bit here.
Yeah, they're trying to just get it out. It just kind of comes right down a draw, and you can see it's just kind of unraveling down there. So they'd like to move it a little bit over so they can get from that straight shoot of water coming down. Yeah,
And then just doing on the switchback.
that's the switchback. That's correct. Just kind of, and it's it wasn't maybe quite done correctly, so they just need to kind of fix it so you can swing around.
Really sharp turning radius,
Mhm.
so a big truck would have problems on it.
And I did put in the schedule, I just, so you guys have that in there, but that's, like Cam said, that was signed last year. But this maintenance plan tears off of that every year.
Did you guys made it?
Made one of
Or
them.
this is yours, but.
Oh, I can fix it for you. We must have. I'll fix that. I can fix that and send it over. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you approve it, you just line through it. What was wrong?
His name at the bottom on the signature, I transposed the letters.
And you misspelled my last name.
Ah.
I only have one C.
Well, I'll fix it. I'll send it back over to you. I'll email it to you.
And that's a
Everyone
big,
does
that's a
that,
big
don't
deal
worry.
for me. To only have one C.
Is there any comments on this, Paul? Oh, fine.
Any questions?
No, looks good to me. Do you have any
No,
plans?
No.
Okay, we will go correct your spelling on your name and get it back to you in like.
Today.
Make a
Yeah.
motion on it that will accept it on the fixing the name, spelling, and then
You could line through it to an initial. it.
I'll just do that while we're here. and then-
I'm fine with that if you guys are.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll get the force supervisor signature on that, and then I'll send a copy back to you.
Okay.
So we'll just
I'll
jump,
entertain a motion on this.
To accept it, I make a motion that we accept the road maintenance plan from the United States Forest Service for 2022.
my second.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried pass. We'll just put lines through it. Okay.
so the next topic is the road 1589, and Sarah can give a couple updates on the administrative side of 1589, and then we'll talk about how we want to manage the project.
She's the one in Dillon. She's brand new. Lisa Timchak is our new force supervisor. She just started about a month ago.
So this will take all the rack funds for this year?
And so I believe you guys have at the back of your package, we put the RAC agreement that was approved. And so there's a description of the project. You'll see that total cost then that we were approved is $46,833. And again, that's, all the way in the back, there's that one reroute piece and then the switchback. So that, those ones would cover that. There's also the financial plan, towards the back of that sheet. So that's probably where you kind of want to look. And, we're in the process of getting this through our grants and agreements process. So the funding's been awarded, and now we have to put it through our folks, and they're working on the agreement. Once they have finalized that, I'll bring it back to you guys again for signature and review. That's where we are in that process. We're just sort of waiting for that agreement to come together.
So when we help in that, we keep tabs on our hours and that on this one?
Yes.
Yep, yeah, the amount of work that folks do, you dump trucks, that kind of stuff, yep. And then there's the indirect cost for Billy to invoice the Forest Service and pay her computer bill and electrical bill and.
Sorry, we should have
Yeah.
introduced these guys. I'm sorry.
Super sorry. Let's do some quick intros for everybody. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
we should.
everybody.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeremiah Sperry. I work in the supervisor's office in Beaverhead Deer Lodge. And we're with the road, I'm with the road crew. I'm the road crew supervisor and pretty much here to
Everybody knows me, don't they?
No.
They're on that.
People on Zoom too.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm Chuck Reynolds. I'm with the Deer Lodge Force out of Butte.
So they, the other part too, is we just want to have them introduce themselves, because potentially, or we have some costs associated with the RAC agreement, much like we did. So that's, I think, in the bottom of your package too, but much like we did in 2018 and 19, this is just a much smaller scale. So we have some funds set aside or some time, when we put that financial plan together with the road crew, so whether it's utilizing dump trucks or a piece of their equipment for a time, we can coordinate that
With Paul.
with Paul, and
That'd be easier than.
that's correct, yep. So we just wanted to make sure
You guys
everyone
could
knew each other and.
Just let them work with him.
Yeah, it works
Lane,
easier that way.
So is the county gonna have to use like outside contractor or is this just gonna be with the?
we usually just use our own.
So you have the dump trucks already, bid out, so they have
Yeah,
to use.
we'll
dump
see what
trucks.
it goes. It's not that big a job, might not have to. We'll just wait and see. We just soon do what we can with ours.
Just gotta wait and see what these guys have. and go from there.
Yeah, well, I'll get you we have an actual like plan by milepost of what to do on the roads. We'll get you that. And as far as accomplishing the work, I guess maybe we'll just need to meet with you offline to see if you want to do it in-house or contract it. Because in 18 and 19, you guys contracted everything. Except when we needed like surge help, I'll call it, where you come in with a bunch of dump trucks or
Right.
something like that. But all the other work was contracted. And then I had Wade Jerome, who was detailed in, and he managed it on the ground. So I don't have Wade this time, and our folks are pretty busy. I don't know what your folks are, their capacity to add this on. But we did set aside, I think, in the financial plan, it says like $4,500 to hire somebody to manage the process. And I've reached out to one, he would be interested. But if you have the capacity, it's gonna take a week or two to do this project, maybe 2.
Well, we'll just look at
You
it.
just have to have someone there almost every day, kind of babysitting, because we're not getting an engineering design or anything, so we need someone who knows roads, telling them exactly what needs to be done and where.
Sure.
Well, we definitely want to be on board there, so you just look at the plans and study it. We talked and say, Jeremiah, Chuck, that everybody knows.
Well, like I said, and we can talk some more with Paul, these guys too, in coordination, and then for sure, when we get that agreement all written up, we'll bring that back with you guys and bring the plan and, have some more solid numbers. This was just a sort of, this is what was submitted to the RAC and approved from there. So then we can go ahead and if we need to modify financial plans, when we get to that agreement, we can do that.
That sounds good. Nice signing this.
Thank you.
So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have the actual agreement for the 1589 road to bring in. We'll try to get it to you even beforehand, so you have time to read it.
Yeah, sooner the better, and I
Yeah.
know everybody's getting busy, so I'll step up. Other than that, is there any other comments or anything? Any public comments on this? Good job, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
You were wrong.
You always think that.
Yeah, that's all we had. We just wanted, it was simple. It was,
So
well, like I
are
said,
you.
we just wanted to get that piece done on the agreement, the maintenance plan. And then,
Do you have any other comments or anything that you need or talk about this coming year?
I don't think so.
You'll see
Put
us
you
out
on
on
the spot, aren't I?
Yeah.
He's like,
No, we're hoping to be out there this summer as well, so, yeah, feel free to.
Oh, we got one from Elena. Go ahead, Elena, comments.
Thank you, Elena Gagliano, for the record. What you were discussing, was this part of the commissioner's documents for today? Because it was hard to follow.
Nope, the documents were just provided now, so they'll go on after the meeting.
We just got the document. Did you hear?
No,
We just got the documents and they'll be put on after the meeting.
oh, so what was put up from you, Cameron, today?
Same stuff.
This is not what you. So what was put up from Cameron is not what was discussed?
Want me to answer this, or you guys?
Yeah,
It feels like it's to you.
Cameron's gonna, Cameron Razor.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Cameron.
Oh, here's a mic right here. Okay, so The document that we provided them today is the 2022 maintenance plan between Granite County and the Forest Service.
Okay.
And
So
it sounds
the,
like this document will be posted or emailed out.
I'll put it on after the meeting. Anything I get during the meeting, I post once the meeting's over.
And this is a very similar, well, it's the exact same document pretty much that we do every year since 1991, I believe. So it just
Okay.
documents what work the Forest Service does on county roads and what work the county does on Forest Service roads.
okay. Well, thank you, Cameron. And I missed the introductions of who was there, and maybe I missed your name. Thank you.
We went right to business instead of doing introductions.
But we did stop and they introduced themselves. You want to hear again who's here?
I chew it off.
Yeah, I mean, that's just taking up time, but we did stop and introduce ourselves. Thank you.
All right, see you in a couple
See,
weeks.
we'll see when we get to the agreement.
Thanks.
Go for water, huh?
Right? Uniform on today. Have a good day. Have a good one.
We'll go off for 5 minutes. Gotta be perfect. Gotcha. All right, we're back on now with Glenn Cameron from MDT. Present the speed study report, intersection at Black Pine Road, discussion only.
Good morning. How are you? It's
Good,
been
how are
a
you?
while. I'm Glenn. I don't know if we met,
No,
right?
You gotta give her a.
I'm gonna bump. I'm gonna start bumping.
Alright.
everybody.
I thought you were tougher than that.
Turn grip.
I believe I emailed these, but I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at. Did I not? Send an email? Yeah. The next one. I want to look at it. Anybody interested? Okay. Want me to have my back to you?
That's fine, yeah, that's fine.
And would you state your name and that again?
Hello, I am Glenn Cameron from the Department of Transportation, here to present the speed limit study and recommendations on Montana 1, and we'll call it Phillipsburg North. All right. Should I start right into the speed limit, or do you have the study, I mean, or do you have questions about maybe the process first?
I guess.
For if this is new to any of you?
Do you want to just summarize it in fewer words?
Okay, so as far as the process, you folks initiated the request by sending in a request for a speed zone study. We, the MDT, are a part of that by coming out and we do the engineering study. So we put together the engineering study and the engineering recommendations. District representative, which would be me, I come and present that. The study was done out of Helena. You will then do what you need to do, whether you solicit comments from your constituents or whether you just provide comments, but we need written comments back from you, whether you concur or not concur. Once I have those go to Helena, it gets put on the Transportation Commission docket. And then when they can get the appropriate notifications in, it goes on to the next agenda for the Transportation Commission. They look over the study and your comments, and then they take action. So we, as the Highway Department, don't make law or create law. We're just part of this process. So if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
All righty. So let's see here. So what you have in front of you is the speed limit study and recommendations. It's kind of wordy. I'll kind of skip through, and if you have questions, we can come back. But the introduction, of course, just summarizes that Granite County requested this speed study last year, specifically kind of looking at the area north of Phillipsburg on Montana 1 there by Black Pine Road. Is that correct? I believe that's the name. So that's kind of the introduction. The site characteristics, We're adding a lot more information than we have in the past. It just talks about the roadway and the history of the roadway, what the roadway looks like, 2 lanes, shoulder. On the second page, if it just continues onto the roadway, typical section, talks about the field observations and of course the angle of Black Pine Road to Montana 1 and the possibility of some site restriction because of that little rise in the highway. It goes on to talk about the daily traffic, which is pretty wordy, and just understand it's going to, with COVID in the last 2 to 3 years of everything, traffic numbers have just been all over the board. It's going to take several years for, I think, the traffic numbers to start to look normal again and consistent. But that's what that paragraph is about. And then it just talks about some roadside environment, which we know it's very rural in nature out there. And so that's really a bunch of
Pretty much it
site characteristics and very wordy.
comes right down to the last one, and it says MDT recommends no change.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's at the end. We're not there yet, Scott.
Oh, I know.
Come on. So then it talks about, I gotta go through this. It's the point why I'm here, I gotta go through this.
I thought you said it was sketchy, so I just
Yeah.
sketched right to it.
Yeah.
And you're not changing.
Yeah. So then it talks about speed zone history, kind of gives a little review of when we came and studied and then approved the 55 that we have out here, right where you turn into Phillipsburg, and then gives a little summary of that. It goes into the crash and enforcement citation history. Crashes were not a whole lot there. There were 7 crashes, 3 were wild animal. They are saying that they all occurred in daylight and that there was some adverse conditions contributed to some of them. And then at the very end, they say that there was no crashes involved school buses or were related to the intersection at Black Pine Road. So you really got to key in on that there's really no crash history at the location. Yeah. That is always seems to be how it is. Yep. So then it just talks about the crash history. Speed played a role in a couple of them. And then it just talks about the citations as well. The biggest thing there is it seemed like the most speeding citations were issued basically right out here as you leave Phillipsburg and head north. That seemed to be the biggest area where people were speeding, maybe just in that area where it's just really nothing, just the fields out there.
They don't like just trying to stop them on that. They were saying that, come over that hill, stop somebody there, and it's not that wide, and just another hazard.
Yeah, at Black Pine Road, you mean? Yeah. So then the biggest thing that the engineering, unless we see a real big glaring safety issue, like it said, there was, no accidents at Black Pine Road. Predominantly, these engineering recommendations are based on the 85th percentile. And so what that means, and by law and how we have to do this, is we look at these 85th percentile speeds because what they have shown over history, whether anybody believes it or not, that people drive where they're comfortable at, and they are safer driving where they're comfortable at. And so when the roadside environment shows that people are driving, at the statutory set speed limit of 70 miles an hour, that's where they're driving. And the 85th percentile is where 85% of the people are driving at or below. Doesn't mean they're all driving at it, they're at or below it. And the intent of that speed limit number, the intent of the speed limit number is to give.
How many times that people pass me, they're
Yeah.
doing 80 down.
Yeah.
So
So-
this study is screwed up. Because you should base it on 80 or 75 at least, because I know damn good and well they're going 80. Wow.
So that's what the statistics say. If you look through this chart, they basically show us they're adding the 50th percentile for some reason. But if you look at the 85th percentile, folks are driving, well, basically anywhere from 70. I see a 74, 85th percentile in there. So they're driving literally right within. It's showing that they're plus like 2 or 3 miles an hour over 70 is what the 85th percentile is showing. And then your pace speed, is basically where you see the most of your people driving within a 10-mile-an-hour increment. And that is all showing between the low 60s to the high 70s. So basically what that data is showing, which is what we have to base the recommendations on, is that people are out there driving what the posted speed limit is now. So if you lower the speed limit, they're not going to pay attention to that. You're going to create a speed trap, and then you're going to have law enforcement upset because they can't spend the time out there to stop the people and issue citations, because we get into this vicious circle. And it's just, unfortunately, those are the arguments that come with these things. So you look through that, that's the biggest thing, all those speeds, and then it comes and gives you a big, long conclusions and recommendations that just pretty much explains the 85th percentile and the rural nature of the roadway. It does talk a little bit about the highway having that rise or that dip. And it also kind of recommends that there can be some other solutions, maybe signing, maybe even that roadway can be redone. Those are some of the recommendations that it has in there. And then on the very last page, it just says, based on this engineering study, that there's a no change recommendation. Now that's the engineering study. It is your responsibility then to comment, as appropriate. If you concur, you concur. If you don't concur, by all means, you can comment that way. But what I can tell you is this current Transportation Commission board, they are very, they're data driven. They want to see data. So if you just say you don't concur, well, they're going to want to know why and how you can support that and what you support that with. So you need to be able to provide that information.
See, and last time we sent the DS guy went over to there.
Correct. Yeah, and you're welcome. You'll be notified when it gets put on the Transportation Commission agenda, and you're welcome to attend and get up and say whatever you need to say. So there's a couple different avenues to proceed if you don't concur with the engineering study.
Well, nobody can tell me it's not a hazard. When you're coming off Black Pine, coming onto this road and looking back that way, and the people coming over the hill 75 miles an hour. I mean, you got like a split second.
Yeah, there's not much time.
No.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and one of the recommendations in here did point out that Black Pine Road kind of has that little, whatever you want to call it, that other little road that goes up and comes out on top of the hill. There could be ways to look at, maybe Black Pine Road needs to be, reconstructed so it doesn't come out at that angle.
Private property.
Up onto that. Yeah, that's all private right there. That's all private.
Yeah, just Casper.
Yeah. So there's
They just never ever shut it down. People that drive it,
I got you.
It'd be probably public prescription, right? Right, no,
Yeah.
One of the update is Bill Wyatt, who was one of the main ones for this, he passed away here this last week.
Everybody's passing away.
Yeah, it's but I'll send this to his wife. They live right.
So what do we do now? I mean, I'll make a motion, we don't concur.
So this was, for discussion, so
It's
you're not
just-
on next week.
Yeah, just a discussion, no decision today. Next week we can put it on, like, we have to send a letter or whatever.
Well, I can see where you're at, where Black Pine Road comes to Highway 1. It's not easy. You have to kind of like go and turn like this to be able, and the road comes down, and so you have to like zoom out.
Yeah.
So it's mainly for the people that live up Black Pine Road that felt that this was a dangerous.
And I don't know how big that roadway easement is in there, but I don't even know if the county can come in and then make that come more at an angle, not just kind of come out. I need more at perpendicular instead of just coming out at an angle. Those are options. The next time we're out here with a highway project, we would have some options then as well to work with you on that. But I can't tell you when that would be.
Well, I think one of the things too is they're talking about starting to haul big trucks are gonna be going up there quite a bit. Mayor, you know, they're worried about coming out.
Going up Black Pine. Oh, for the-
What are they,
Yeah,
what are they,
Big trucks look like a belly dump falling out of there.
like, are they hauling material out of there? Is there a pit up there?
Take material up.
Oh, we're gonna take material up.
Stores, 80 miles, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So I
You
mean,
don't
that's
want
what
5
we're
miles
thinking
an hour
on
for a
this
long
before
time.
something
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
To where, you know, we don't want a death just to make sure it gets dropped. I don't agree with that. That's what it seems to take to do it.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, speed limits are difficult. Like we said, I mean, history and studies have shown that if you just go out there and you put a 55 up, nobody's going to drive that unless you literally set an enforcement officer there 24/7 to enforce it.
But
Nobody's going to drive the 55. People are still going to drive the 7 or what they're comfortable with.
And I know it takes, I mean, you just would have to do that for law enforcement out there to get it. known.
For quite a while to get people.
Yeah, I know
It's
that-
kind of like going through the Maxville area.
Then you stop and think, you know, we have a death out there, it's not gonna be good. It's been addressed, it's bad safety.
Yep. Oh, I've been in this position
Yeah.
fighting these for almost 19 years
I
now.
know.
Believe me. Believe me, I come out here and present this stuff. I know the difference between this and really what's going on out in the field. So, but unfortunately, I am the messenger.
No, that's all. We'll just put it on the agenda for next week and make a decision and go from there.
Yeah.
Does anybody complain about the 80-mile-an-hour speed limit on the interstate? Nobody?
No. No, actually, when we changed that a few years ago, at least my office, I didn't get any calls on it.
Yeah, but it seems like now, like, in the wintertime, we get these out-of-state drivers especially, they come down there and they're.
Was you gonna say?
We can't get the truckers to slow down. Yeah, I mean, our passes, like Lookout Pass, I mean, adverse snow conditions, they're just flying like it's clear, daylight, road dry. They're not even slowing down. It's,
Had a guy recently here cited for careless driving from Morocco, a truck driver, never driven snow and just flying down the.
just flying down the interstate. Doing their jobs and whatnot, just those
Flying
truckers
by,
are just
yeah.
flying by 'em.
Hazard, they won't move over, they won't slow
Yep.
down. Some guys are just a target, just like Rock Creek. These 2 guys want to take the license plate number down for the guy that ran the other guy over.
And like I said, I mean, by all means, you can comment how you know, as the elected officials comment as appropriate. Just if you do not concur, I just encourage you to be able to support that, be able to provide information to support that, and then go to the Transportation Commission when this gets put on their agenda.
Yeah, but what can we say to support that against engineering?
One thing you could do is.
I
I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah.
Common sense. That they,
Oh, believe me.
This, sheriff has those, that trailer with the speed deal around, I think it may save the speeds that go by, so
Yeah.
I mean, you could put that out there potentially.
Yeah. Which is all the numbers we have. I mean, we came out.
Okay. you
Oh,
put
yeah,
it-
they came
you put
out
a
and did
trailer, okay.
spot samples for usually 24,
Oh, okay.
48 hours.
I thought maybe we just looked at justice court.
Yeah. Oh, no. We come out and actually collect that. data.
Okay.
So that's, like I said, that's what people are driving. So, and it's not to say that you have those, that 15% above the 85th percentile, that could be anywhere from 70 to 90, but that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to give law enforcement that particular folks that are driving well beyond what the majority of everybody else is driving. So,
Tough to get the data then, maybe you get like bus drivers to sign letters and that sort of stuff.
and then you just have to go to the commission. And I argued that, so we got, they let us know, we were supposed to come out and tell everybody that if you don't concur, you better provide your own data or engineering data. And I laughed. I'm like, how are they supposed to do that? I'm like, that's our job. So believe me, I've argued it, and so I'm just like letting you know what the current, our current transportation commission folks are, they're data driven. I think we got an engineer on there. I think there's an attorney on there. So it's just like a lot of the folks on the current commission are just very, they're looking at the data.
Is there any public comment on this?
Elena.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. For the record, Elena Gagliano, I do live up Black Pine. And I have a statement and then I have a question. Using that stop sign, I've been in compact cars and you cannot see above that hill. I've been in situations where we proceeded to go on US 1 and all of a sudden there was a semi or a truck, which you even admitted, Mr. Cameron, they don't abide by any speed limits, right on our tail. A couple of times, the trucks don't slow down, they pass. And when they pass, we've been lucky that there wasn't oncoming traffic. One time there was, and luckily, it wasn't a semi, it was a pickup truck, was able to move in between us and oncoming traffic. So I know you go by data. I thought it was interesting how you said that you get more speeding citations by Phillipsburg. Yeah, because the sheriff's department usually sits there at the speed trap because of the 55 miles per limit reduction. The buses don't have a problem, the school buses, because they're high and they can see over that hill. So they don't have a problem. My question is, will the commissioners put something in the newspaper asking for public comments? That you'd be interested from the public receiving comments? That's my question. Thank you.
Yes, we can. If that's what your recommendation is have us put something in the paper to get public comment so we can mail it in with ours, or the public can mail it over to the commission too. They did it before when the DS guy took the stuff over. There was a bunch of letters and stuff got sent.
When's the due date?
Well, we just, if you can get us your official comments within like 60 days, that's what we'd prefer, if we can do that. It just helps keep the process rolling.
Need a motion to put it in paper?
Like, put it on the agenda?
Oh,
This is
yeah.
what, just
Well,
discussion?
Today.
Yeah, I mean, that's not significant public interest, but you could do it today as, but.
As long as we can get moving on it, if you want to make a motion, then by Wayne saying.
Well, I'll make a motion to put something in paper to get public comments on the hazardous condition of Black Pine.
So what good is public comment gonna do if the engineers say it's okay?
Well, if you can have documentation from public comment and then, like I say, attend the Transportation Commission, it's no guarantee, but then you've at least done everything you can. And if the lawmakers, decide to act one way or the other, that's in their power to do so. But at least you folks have done everything you can.
Can they come back and say it's Black Pine Road that's a problem?
They come back. What do you mean?
Could they come back and say it's not Highway 1, it's Black Pine Road that's a problem?
They would come back and kind of maybe point to some recommendations saying that there are things that the county can do to make that better. That could probably be said, yes.
That's all into the checking of it when you're seeing the stuff. That's not last time you start bringing stuff back. What can you do to make it better and not them just to lower the speed limit?
Okay. Second?
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion been carried, passes 10-11.
Thank you.
It's-
Put a ad in the
Yep.
paper.
Just-
On the agenda next week.
Yeah, to solicit comments. So, yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Needs to be something done with it.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Definitely, yeah.
You're welcome. Another one. It's been a while, actually. So I said I hadn't been up here for a couple of years. We haven't had.
Last week was
had
one
some
that
of these.
Barsadi went over with. Yeah.
All righty, well, I will see you guys later.
See ya, thanks, Paul.
Have a good day.
Hanging out half your day.
Right?
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
You take care.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, I think we're.
Comment? Anything you need me to take back and ask anybody anything? All
Uh,
good?
Any new comments on the Fairmount stuff?
Fair enough stuff.
Road?
Interchange.
Oh, no. I guess that would be beyond me, so.
I figured that'd come up.
Good question, but sorry.
Good try. All
All
right,
right.
thanks.
Thanks.
We're gonna go ahead and start on the claims. We'll just stay on.
I gotta read that down in the newspaper to get their ad. Yeah. They're gonna send me. By the time it gets in the newspaper, it'll take 45 minutes.
Hey, Glenn, can we go out, there's some stuff down at, old shed too. Can we go look at equipment? Go down and look inside that shed and, there's stuff we store in there. I don't know if it goes in and out, but that'd be something you could, maybe I'll see what we have stored there, like, stuff. And just stuff they wanna look at.
The bulk shed.
The one
Bulk
down,
shed.
the one below the school. Down over.
Oh,
The one there, I think, then he can show you just everything. Good, yeah. I never got that on email.
I'll send a copy to this client.
That's, yeah. When's that mediation with us, Wayne?
So, I gave him some of those dates and haven't heard back, so
Okay.
I'll let you know as soon as I know. They're, right, on break.
Okay. I was just curious, to make sure we paid it in, so.
You on right now?
Huh? We're on, we can go off.
Yeah.
I just, I couldn't remember, I seen, I got what you sent me, but I didn't know. And then did you wanna talk about that other yesterday's?
Oh, the,
The one now, or, we can go off, or we all. On the, negotiations?
No, I heard from Ed McLean, Judge McLean 2 weeks ago and said that they were making some headway, but I haven't seen anything.
Our funding day is the year. She has, there's some stuff.
I don't think y'all affected it.
Any public comment on the negotiations with Flint Creek Hydro?
So Chuck, was Linda gonna respond for you to her, or were you gonna respond?
I don't know what do you think? I just told her to talk to the city. What do you think? That's all.
Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe Linda should respond. Do you think? Did she, I'll ask her after to see if she can respond to that. Do you want Linda to respond to that?
Yeah, whatever.
Do you think?
I mean, I can do it. I mean.
Yeah, if you want to, but would you rather she did it?
No.
Just, or you can just say, call Linda.
I'll just read this letter. I think she gave it out.
So Chuck went up and talked with Linda on the phone call he got from, what's her name?
Kim Kelly or?
Who?
Kim Kelly or?
Kim.
Kale?
Kale, yeah.
Kim Kale?
The lady who lives up at the lake?
No, she's,
Her dad did the whiskey
her
flats
dad,
thing.
her dad and her uncle did Whiskey Flats.
Yeah, she has a place up there at the,
Oh, yeah.
close to our, the
That's right.
chapel up there. She's been going.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Well, she wanted to know if the sewage ponds were good enough that she could hook up some townhouses she wanted to build on Whiskey Flats. And
Yeah, so she had to talk to the town.
yeah, I told her to talk to the mayor, but Linda says she knows all that stuff. I don't know why she just bring it up and maybe see what I was
She's
saying.
trying to do townhouses and she'd have to go back into the subdivision and re-amend it. And the only commercial site is a no-build zone.
Oh, okay.
So she'd have to come back and go through DEQ to do all this, and she knows this.
There, yeah. We went around with them up there at the chapel. And the husband was there, chainsaw, when they're trying to have church services. They're just doing, they're using counties, going over county's property. And they're like, told them not to. Yeah, he assaulted a guy up there the night. She's not so much, but everything he does, she tries to defend him for it.
get a motion on the claim?
I make a motion that we accept the claims for February and have them paid.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It carries back. Got a couple minutes.
Did you get a cookie?
No, that's M&M's, probably had enough sugar, pretty good.
Well, I made them, of course.
Oh,
they're
you
good.
did? Thanks. I'll
I
get one.
baked them.
I'll get one. They in the break room?
Yeah, they're in there.
High sugar content?
High sugar and butter and
Everything.
Butter and-
Everything's good.
butter.
Looks like butter.
Yeah.
You said that twice.
The real butter. Actually, I don't cook it all with butter. I do substitute half of it. It makes it softer. If you don't use all
You got
butter,
it down.
and still just tastes. I love my sugar cookies.
You make sugar cookies? I
Okay.
just had some M&Ms.
You make,
They're right out there.
I did.
Huh?
You did. You told me earlier?
I said I made sugar cookies. I made little shamrocks for St. Patty's Day
you got your green, I got green on too.
I have a rainbow.
because we won't be here. Homemade.
All right,
Lots of
we'll go-
Pretty good luck.
We're gonna go into the resolution number 2022-5, resolution authorizing the participation in intercap loan program for consolidation loan, second reading and adoption.
I make a motion that we accept the second reading and adoption of the participation in intercap loan program.
I second it.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion been carried and passed.
Thank you. Good job, Billy.
Good job, Billy. Good job, Lynn.
Good teamwork.
Good teamwork.
I'll vote yes.
Saving money, good deal.
Do you want to be a notary? Teresa went to lunch.
Yeah. I'll bring my, we lock up down.
So when will the first payment be?
August.
I think it's August, yeah.
And we've paid off all the other loans. It's all
We will, the funding comes through on Friday.
on Friday.
Pay them off. And then we have 2 payments a year out of the intercom loan.
That's gonna be so much easier. Did you find them?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Good.
Very good. Very good. I'll bring it up to Claudette. I'll go get my notary logbook so I
Don't need it on the way.
can. I've got that one though, guarded, Bill.
Oh,
My mom made sugar cookies this weekend too. She was mad by the end of it. She made a lot. I don't know why she made so many.
kind of sad on that speed, to get the speed cut down. We went through that. I've done it twice now, and I'll tell you, it is a pain.
Did you ever get it? Did you ever cut the speed?
The only way that we got it, DS Barsadi went over to Helena and he fought. I mean, we had comments come back from the commission that our guy that went over there to represent us was very nice. So he got it just down.
And that's the,
That was down
goes to
Maxfield.
60, yeah. It goes down to
But,
60.
I mean, he fought, it went on and on. It went for like 2 years or something. And then if he wouldn't have acted the way he was, he probably would have got it.
I'll
Well,
never
that's-
come do it. Mine expired. I sent all that stuff. I started like 8 months ago trying to get, had to do that 4-hour course, get the bond, do the test. They sent it to the state a couple weeks ago and I haven't gotten their certificate, so I can go get the new stamp.
My daughter's ahead of you, she got her elderly. Thanks.
State of Montana, Florida, Alaska. Lucky we have Claudette around.
Yay.
She's well worth her money, huh?
Were you talking about your no rate?
Yeah,
Some
it
of
was like
that's me
6 months
because
ago that we.
They give you that, well, you can't submit any of it, so it's like 30 days prior, and so I had a reminder to make sure we got it all sent in, because we had it all done.
Yeah, we
So,
sent it in 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
didn't we?
some of that is my fault, for not sending it in 30 days prior, because they tell you 30 days.
Just Scott's signature or who's she notarizing?
I don't, she's never anything good. Right? I mean,
They add them
Is that
speed
what it is,
things,
or
or, you know, and they always kick it back, well, you're law
So
enforcement,
there's
well, they know,
signatures like
I mean,
1,000 places.
they'd rather be out there giving a speed than go out there for a corner call.
Sarah.
I mean, this, oh, it, yeah. They don't think it's.
Oh, it's not?
notice,
Maybe I'm
Like
crazy.
with, what's his name, you know,
Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't need to.
And then that,
Speed
um,
exercise.
yeah.
You know, it's okay.
that's the only way they get changed.
what Doug been saying with his logging.
Well,
But I mean,
I'm
that's the
glad
only
to
way they
know.
get changed.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Thanks for
They
coming down.
told us that.
I wanna make sure I
That's
get
why I
everyone's
laughed.
name. Big
Well,
old
no,
box.
You know, last time I came out of there, I can't turn my head very far this way. You know, and it's like, you can't see.
And right away, they just said, well, maybe there's something to count out. See, they never want to take the responsibility of doing stuff on their own. Now they'll come back, well, no, you guys need to fix your share code.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. That's what the state's doing on everything. Put it back on the county, Department of Revenue, Department of Corrections. It's old. You almost have to creep out onto the highway. How's it going? There's a cookie in there for you. No. Blanche made them.
Yeah, I made them.
It's good luck.
I baked them all by my little self with no help from my granddaughter.
For all you.
She eats them.
She's not a baker.
She isn't anything. No, just kidding.
Softball player.
She's a sweetheart. She made honor society, so yeah, she's doing good.
Honor Society, good. Congrats.
Okay. The last page I need Teresa to sign. Will you make sure everything looks fine, right?
Should we have the former sheriff sign it too?
Sure. Everybody sign. For good measure.
Alone, you want to go sign it alone?
Yeah. For good measure.
They got that back.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just, I was the one told to get it out, if they were trying to plow.
So then
I was
I'll
right
email
back. I
it to
should've
her
said
and then
Yeah, it was
copies
me
of it
that
and
told them to get it
overnight
out.
that back to her, right?
There wasn't no parking, and they had that, it seems like we just,
why didn't they give it a bath before they brought it back?
I think they did.
So the
It looks pretty good if you
change
look at it.
that.
They didn't change
But
it
now
over
it doesn't. And then they changed all the oils and stuff.
Friday.
So is the plan
Yeah.
to use Nate to replace Johnny or?
Actually, he will be the one that steps up into there. And
You
then
initial. They didn't change our number in there.
do what?
You initial right there and right there. They didn't change
Right
our
here?
number. Right there and right there.
Right here and right here. Then I don't know if we're looking into replacing, are we just gonna stay with 3 and 3 or what?
Say that again.
Are we gonna be, we're on still, but are we gonna be looking to replace Johnny then, or are we just?
We're gonna absorb it, I would think. That's what was in the minutes.
What are you talking about?
The person better talk about that maybe next week on the road too, because you know, we're taking on these other roads and stuff.
What am I putting on the agenda? Or am I putting something on the agenda?
I will just talk to Paul about it. You still have 4 minutes. Any public comment on the resolution?
Yeah, just let me, they probably intended to.
Yeah, because it's changed everywhere.
It raining out there? Spring come? Well, one drop at a time until the line. April 6th, we have mediation in Converse case. We could take the entire one. Should have last time.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You don't need it on Friday, do you?
No.
Okay, I've got a reporters meeting in Folsom.
Oh,
What's this?
April 6th is
I threw mine away.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it's running good.
Yeah.
I didn't know we each got one.
Tired?
Okay, it's 11:24. Move on to the Flint Creek Dam corrective plan and schedule for 2021 Part 12D consultant safety inspection report and amendment and cover letter, discussion and decision.
So how much will this cost? If we find corrosion in those pipes?
Say that again.
A lot, because you're gonna have to probably put a camera and go through them or whatever. Go inside the pipe or whatever, I don't know, it just seems like it never ends, this is a problem. This is another, they're making us do stuff, the corrosion of 2 30-inch pipes.
So now we have to pay for a study to see if there's corrosion all the way through.
That's the way I read it. Steel intake pipes, so it takes it from, all the way, so if I have to either camera it, or then maybe they shut everything off and somebody's gonna crawl through there, you have to hire somebody that can, I don't know if we can inspect it. I don't know, we have a guy that's trained to go in the pipe, that's the whole thing, you gotta hire somebody that, this is just the bullshit that they keep throwing at us. It just never ends. I mean, does a guy kick this back at Hydro? Do they look at stuff like that?
Not unless it's,
Do
it's anything to do with the dam, it's county, anything to do with the hydroelectric is there.
So does this have to do with hydroelectric then?
So this is
No, this is just the dam.
That's what I was just asking, if they're gonna help on this, or, cause then they're the ones that always come back and say, well, you know, we don't have to do that, or you should not hold of us, we can do this, that.
Well, that was part of our original agreement with them, is our offer, or not original, but their latest one. Anything over that, the amount that you bring in, that they would be shared, and that they could potentially object to things, and then the county would go to them, but
I guess I don't know. A person have to talk to Jeremiah, which costs money too, and find out what they really have, how they do check them, how they go in. But none of us are, I'm sure you have to have a license.
What to call them?
Yeah. Should we call them and ask them, Blanche, on this before we sign it and send it back?
Scott, which,
So this is part of that 12D consultant safeties inspections that we're required to do.
This is the
But now
amendment.
they're adding
for
on more.
comment.
Now they're seeing other stuff that somebody else probably noticed, and so every time this 12B becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. It used to be just boom, boom, now it's holy shit. Next thing it'll be the fence, does it have enough power to hold a rock or something? It's just,
So if it's a real expensive fix, you could ask for it to be pushed off, the reason if they afford it. You want his number?
Just a second.
495-6193 is the office.
64.
495-6193. Or do you want, do you call the office line?
I got 431-6650.
That's a cell.
I just,
431 6550 is the cell.
6550.
Yeah.
Okay.
6650.
Yep, sorry. Good catch. Don't want to prank call someone.
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Please try your call again later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I've tried the other one.
Okay, the 6193. 495. Okay.
Probably get the reception.
the Allen office. Yeah, 4498627. 4498627.
Maybe that's to the main office.
One ringing dingy. Dating myself.
Lunch already.
This is Jeremiah with Great West Engineering. Not able to get to the phone right now, so please leave your name and number and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you. Bye.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey Jeremiah, this is Granite County Commissioners. Would you give us a call? We had a couple of questions to ask you, like how much this is gonna cost for this corrosions and on the pipes and stuff. But just give us a call, we're still there. Thanks, bye.
I'll also see Jeremiah tomorrow. I'll see him tomorrow. Fairly easy.
Well, it's 11:30. We'll go ahead to the Drummond and Phillipsburg TV districts updates and bylaw. Discussion decision. Who wants to start off?
Come on up, Dane.
Do you have a copy of the proposed bylaws? Sorry.
Did you read this?
I read through it quickly last week, and I think it was just the same.
So to update, the latest was if you're gonna amend the district, you have to go through the same process as creating one and have an objection period and send out notices to everyone, the landowner in the county. So the thought was potentially just to go back to plan A and do bylaws that work. And this is a working document, so, I mean.
And didn't, it says in there, like if there weren't enough, then for one of them, then the other one would kind of look over.
I think it says if it's a necessity, then the county commission could do one district. And that,
And always meet with
that's
you
right.
guys.
We might have times where you could get enough for two, but it doesn't sound like that's happened. It's tough to get board members. Make it easier just to have the meetings in here and Billy could take notes. That's my thoughts.
So on normal commissioner stuff and quarterly or something, or?
Well, each board meeting shall meet as needed, but at least annually, and I think that works. It's, it's not a huge,
Right.
time-consuming project, really, which
Would you state your name and who you are and what you're here for? please?
Steve Imichu.
Board chairman for.
No, I'm
Joe-
not board.
And Jesus, the board chairman, she
Oh,
couldn't
is she?
make it.
Thank you, Chairman.
And Board of Investments.
Yeah.
Compensation Board.
So, I, maybe what we ought to do is just go, there's only 13 points on here. Maybe we should just, I'll read them and we'll just kind of review them, or what do you
Sure.
think? Number one, the established Drummond TV districts and Phillipsburg TV district are to be governed by these bylaws and is given all power under Title 7, Chapter 11, Part 10, MCA as amended. Well, I'm not gonna dig out MCA right now.
No.
Each TV district shall be governed by 3 volunteer board members residing in each district as appointed by the Granite County Commission. However, as approved by the Granite County Commission, both TV districts may be governed by the same board consisting of 3 board members who each reside within Granite County, Montana. Each TV district board shall maintain all current licenses. Board members are entitled to per diem and mileage if so authorized by the Granite County Commission, but no salaries are given. I don't have any problem with that. 3.
Thank you, Chairman.
You're speaking for the chairman, right?
I'm speaking as whatever.
As a board member.
Don't put words in my mouth. Number 3, a quorum of each TV district shall be consist of 2 board members, and majority vote shall be required for each, for every decision of a TV district board. Sounds good to me.
Shoot you an email.
Yeah.
But I really, I guess, because it's governed by the Granite County Commissioners and, I think the commission could override.
Yeah, I think that the statute says that, but this bylaws is just pertaining to that. And I think it does say at one point, the county commission has a supervisor.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 board members are appointed to 3-year term, terminating at the end of October after 3 years. I would rather that said a year, but.
Oh, it's just so
You
difficult,
only have to
isn't
be
it?
chairman 1 year.
Yeah.
My wife's gonna divorce me. Number 5, each board member shall meet as needed, but at least annually. That works, as in the past.
Each board meeting.
6 board meetings, number 6, board meeting shall be noticed following public meeting laws and shall be open meetings. Meetings are to be conducted following customary rules of order. No problem with that. 7, all TV district board meetings shall be held in conjunction with Board of Granite County Commissioners regular meeting or special meeting of the Granite County Commission. I don't see a problem with that, do you?
No, and that kind of helps with the one before that.
Right.
Because it would be
Sure.
noticed.
On the agenda.
on the agenda.
Each board shall have a chair, a vice chair, county commission's assistant shall be acting secretary of each board.
Like that,
I
Billy.
really like that word. 9, the Board of Granite County Commissioners shall maintain supervisory control of all structural matters, all budgetary matters, and expenditures of the district per 7-11-1021 MCA. Number 10, each district shall be funded by Granite County as well as private donations and grants.
Do
County
you get
off.
private donations, or is it just right on this, there's no one?
Well, if the board would
Well,
get together
I
and,
think we call that time,
yeah.
you know,
Grant, I mean,
$50 an hour for our
Yeah.
time.
If we, you know, if there was some project we wanted to do, I guess we could do like bake sales or look for credit, get money from, yeah, so. But it's just, we gotta figure out what project.
Right. 11, each board shall request an annual budget and annual work plan be set as customarily done by all county offices and boards. And each annual budget shall be compiled with and followed.
it says work plan in the statute,
Right.
that's basically, I think it's considered a budget, but I guess there could be more to it.
These bylaws may be amended from time to time by majority vote of Granite County Commission and a majority vote of each respective TV district board. 13, these bylaws are effective as of February 22. Sounds like a regular old bylaw, doesn't it?
So do we need to make a motion on this, Blaine, accept that?
Yeah, I guess is there even Drummond TV board, is there, there's no one on there?
One died, the other one lives up in the other side, and the other one don't want nothing to do with it. I asked the one if she wanted anything.
No interest.
Well, it's, you know, when everything's running right, and, you know, you just go with that, you know. Right, Scott?
I'm listening, Chairman.
So, yeah, I think, motion.
I'd entertain a motion on this.
I will make a motion that the Drummond and Phillipsburg TV districts bylaws dated February 29th, 2022 be accepted.
We could change that date.
February 29th.
We could change the date to, yeah, that was the
Oh,
draft.
So
Yeah.
we'll just, today's date,
March
or what?
15th, 2022, I'll make that change.
Okay, change that to March 15th, 2022.
I'll second.
Any public comment on the bylaws? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, passed, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do, both of
We
you.
don't know what the hell we're doing.
No,
How many yous did I use in that sentence?
You
because they used.
Wow, you guys can quit for.
I entertain a motion that we
What are you doing with that?
wait on, let's table it for next week. I don't want to send it back until we know what it costs and how we're gonna see what we're gonna do. I mean, we don't have a lot on it, so I just wouldn't table it for next week.
Hey, Scott, can I ask a question about the dam?
Yes,
What tube are they talking about?
I think they're the ones, I'm not quite sure, but I think they're the ones that one on this side and that other one that we just put a belt gate in. They're the only steel ones I can think of, but I'm not sure. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
I
all
wanted.
steel under the dam, that's the problem.
Well, you know, and then you have to have special people who go in there and that.
Well, you gotta shut it down, and then you gotta have a timer.
It's just these, they just every, more and more.
You ever thought about selling it?
Yes.
You know?
We heard you sold a place in town, you'd like to buy it.
Yeah, go home and talk that one over.
We've even offered to give it away. No, we're stuck with it until we figure something out, but I just don't wanna sign and send this back agreeing to work when we're not quite sure what they're asking for or what.
Oh, no, you want it nailed down, sure.
Was someone
Cause this
calling?
could end up being a great big,
Was someone calling earlier?
nah,
Oh,
but I just sort of talked to Jeremiah on it and see what we're sitting at, and I just don't wanna sign this till you guys okay tabling this for next week? Have
Yes,
a little more information on it.
yes, sir.
Just holy cow, you start getting somebody going there and scope it now, you know, it could end up being thousands of dollars.
Worst case scenario is they find something wrong,
Well, that's-
you know?
Well, they will.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They have to
sure.
find
That's
something.
like going to a proctologist, isn't it?
Work is.
Well,
No, that's what the whole deal is on that.
Thank you.
probably just fine though.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks.
I'll make a motion to
Email Charlie.
project the adjournment today.
I'll second.
Good job, you guys. Thanks for all the comments today.
Sure.